Welcome to episode 38 of the We Don't Know Jack podcast. I'm your host, Jack. Emily's back this week.
I have not left. Well, I did leave for a few episodes, but I'm back.
Thank God you're back. I don't have to produce anymore. It doesn't go good when I run the board. We have another guest today. We are white hot with guests, especially in the pro wrestling industry. Welcome to the show, Shazza Mckenzie.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Yay.
We're very excited to have you today. You've been somebody I wanted to talk to for a long time. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm chilling. It's the afternoon. I'm running through my to-do list in my head and trying to ignore it. That's anxiety, I'm pretty sure. Other than that, I'm fine.
I'm right there with you. I'm all about the procrastination. I'm very good at that. Procrastinating everything I can. I had like 12 things to do today. I did one of them. So, here we are.
1 out of 12 ain't bad.
It's better than nothing, right?
It's not great, but it's not bad.
It's better than nothing.
Exactly.
So you're from Australia, correct? Sydney, Australia?
Yeah.
Sydney,
Australia.
How in the world did you end up in St. Louis?
So I've been wrestling for a very long time because I'm old. And I would come to America and I would wrestle, and I would do that maybe like at least 2 times a year for about 10 to 12 years of my life.
Oh wow!
Minus the 2 years where I got locked in my country for the pandemic. We love that. But basically, when I decided that or figured out that I was going to be moving to America, and I had to make the decision of where in this gigantic land of America that I would make my home, I made a map of all the places that I wrestled regularly and where the most places that I could get work were in that sense. And then that was pretty much Chicago was the center of all that. And then I looked at the price of living in Chicago and I said, ooh, maybe no. And so then I decided, I looked out a bit further and I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to I looked at Indianapolis. I looked at Cleveland. I looked at the general areas around Chicago. And then I ended up on St. Louis because it had good cost of living, easy drive to Chicago, lots of wrestling around it itself, and has a school to train at wrestling school to train at. So those were really my 3 prerequisites of where I was going to live. And yeah, and now I'm yawning. Why am I yawning? It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I know. It's one of those days. I feel
bad.
you too.
It's very gloomy outside, and and I'm looking straight out at the clouds, and I think it's making me sleepy.
It's nice out today. It's 60. It's 55 degrees, I think, right now. Yeah, 55.
Yeah, but it looks very gloomy. It looks very cloudy outside.
It does. Yeah. What wrestling school are you training at right now?
At the Forge, St. Louis.
Okay. That seems to be the hot spot around here. I hear lots of good things. Moses told us great things about it. The new guys had great things to say about it.
That's where I met them all, pretty much. I'm pretty sure I think Jake Bosch started training the first day that I showed up at, when I first moved to America, my first day at that training school was his first day, I believe. I might have just made that up.
That timeline,
I know that it was very much.
It lines up from when you moved here. You moved here, you said, early last year?
Yeah, in March last year.
That's around the exact time he started training is what he told us.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that was the whole thing, that my first day was also his first day, but it also wasn't my first day. It was his actual first day. It was my first day in America, in St. Louis.
That's pretty good timing, though, and he's improved so much so fast. Jake is incredible.
Yeah. And he's a kid, so he's got his life ahead of him, and he'll be fine.
He's way younger than I thought. I thought he was a little bit older than me.
He's so young.
He's 20.
He's a child.
He's
a little child that likes to jump off things. But it'll all work out for him because of that.
I would never jump off things.
Me either. Scary. I don't want it.
That's why I'm on this side of the microphone and not in the ring like you guys. I like to I'll talk about what's going on all day long, but I'm not getting in the ring.
That's fair.
I don't have the pain tolerance for that. How did you end up at the Forge? Because there's a couple other wrestling schools in the area.
I think, I knew most of the guys that trained there and ran the school. Like, I was pretty good friends with Warhorse. I knew Camaro. I knew Outlaw. I knew, like, the main set of people because I'd been to Glory, and I'd wrestled at Glory and stuff before, and, like, Glory is sort of, it's not adjacent, but there's, like,
it's a lot of crossover.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I don't know what the term is, but like I knew those people, so it was like obvious that would be where I would go.
Glory Pro is such a great promotion too. They've been awesome to us. They've let us do a lot of cool things with them, and the talent they have there is just incredible every week, every month, or however often they do a show.
Whenever. I love Glory. I think it's really cool how they invest in their guys. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, like, they'll bring in like they'll bring in one or two people every show that are like, I don't know, upper echelon. But they really do invest and like create stories with the people that are there for the company. So I really enjoy that.
It is cool. Ethan Page used to always come in and say how great the St. Louis talent is, especially at Glory Pro. So I didn't know this. I met you a couple years ago at the pageant, the one John Morrison was on. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh my God, what a time!
Were you?
That was when I had my hardcore. Was there no disqualifications, no holds barred? I don't remember what the actual. I had a match with Laney.
Yes, it was with Laney. I remember that match. Every match you and Laney have, everyone I've seen has been awesome.
I love Laney. And by love Laney, I mean I love beating her up. But maybe one day we'll team up and join forces, and then we'll be unbeatable because we beat each other so much that one day. That's the natural progression, I think.
I could see it. I could 100% see it. Have you guys ever teamed up before?
I don't think we have.
Really?
No, I don't. Like, we've had lots of like multi-man and like, you know, there's like a million different people in the matches. Mm-hmm. So we've done little like things to get like where we've worked as a team. But I don't think we've ever had like an actual tag match where it was the two of us versus the two people.
That's surprising because you guys are on like every card together.
Yeah.
Everything I see. Sorry. There's a delay on Zoom, so I can't really tell when you're starting to talk. My bad on that.
No, you're fine. You're so fine. But yeah, we're connected somehow in the wrestling. I don't know. She's like a kindred spirit or something.
Is she from Chicago, I think?
What was that?
She's from Chicago, I think, right?
She's from Chicago.
And you're up there a lot, so it makes sense why you guys are. Well,
yeah, and like, so when I'm in Chicago, I stay at her house, and when she's in St. Louis, she stays at mine.
Okay, that's cool.
We just go back and forth between each other.
It makes sense. Do you wrestle in Chicago more often than you wrestle in St. Louis, you think?
Probably, yeah. There's just more wrestling companies in Chicago, so like there's maybe three, four. I mean, who knows? There's always random new companies popping up in St. Louis and popping up anywhere. Mm-hmm. But Chicago's just such a historical hub of professional wrestling that there's just so much there. So I'm there multiple times a month.
I think I've only been to Chicago maybe 3 times. But I'm there all the time. The other thing is like, because St. Louis is in Missouri, so wrestling in Missouri gets a bit harder because there's commission and stuff, whereas Illinois doesn't have a commission, which is why there's more shows run on the Illinois side of St. Louis than there is in the Missouri side of St. Louis, because that Missouri Athletic Commission is pain in the butt. I know the commissioner pretty good. I know the commissioner, and I know a lot of people that work for him, and It's just a lot of like blood work stuff, isn't it?
Just a lot of, a lot of blood work and a lot of physicals and lots of the women's side of it is very, we have to sign a piece of paper before every single show that says we're not pregnant. That's great. Love that. Love being a woman in male-dominated industries. It's great. We love it. But yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. It's just annoying. just a pain in the butt.
It's the extra stuff you have to do that you're not always wanting to do kind of thing?
Yeah. Like, I'd rather just show up and do my job.
Right.
Not worry about if the company's going to get fined because I didn't sign a piece of paper before the show, blah, 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 blah.
They don't play around either. They're very by the book.
Nope.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I know them all, and they're good people, but they're very by the... There's a reason they're by the book, so they don't get in trouble. But...
Well, yeah, no, I understand. Yeah. I understand. I just think the system is silly.
Do you like wrestling? What's the difference in the crowds? Which one do you like better?
Between what was it?
St. Louis and Chicago crowds.
I mean, it just depends on it's so dependent on the show and the specific crowd each specific time and day. So, like, it really depends. Like, you can get some really rowdy crowds in Chicago. You can get some really rowdy crowds in St. Louis. So, it just depends. But you want a rowdy crowd. A rowdy crowd is the crowd you want.
Have you ever had no reaction from a crowd?
I mean, probably. Yeah. Like, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's not uncommon to start with no reaction, right? Like to walk out and people to be like, who the bleep is this? And have no whatsoever. Because I don't suspect that, 80% of the people that come to wrestling shows know who the hell I am. But it's a matter of getting a reaction once you start doing things and doing your work that you can do to get the reaction that you want, and not letting the fact that you're getting whatever reaction it is when you first walk out affect your ability to keep doing stuff.
Right. Every show I've seen you on, you get a pretty good reaction. Either they're booing you or they love you.
As they should. They should all love me.
So I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter of you and Sean Ross Sapp going at it. How did that become a thing?
I don't remember exactly how it happened, how it all started. It started, though, like, before the pandemic. So because before the pandemic, before the pandemic, there was WrestleMania week in Tampa, Florida, supposed to happen, like 2020. And I think I, had agreed to do an interview with him or something, and then we just started bantering with each other. There was some jokes about me going through a door or something. I don't even know how it all started. And then we just started bullying each other for literal years, because I couldn't leave Australia from March 2020 until I didn't leave until March 2022.
Wow.
So for 2 years I didn't leave Australia. Because our border was closed from March 2020 until December 21. So we literally legally couldn't leave.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So during all this time, all I really had was social media to there was wrestling in Australia, but it was on and off, because we kept getting shut down, open, shut down, open, and live events were obviously the least important thing on the COVID spectrum of things. So that we were always the last thing to be allowed to happen. And then, but basically all I had during that time, especially all the times where I was locked in my house, because we had 6 months worth of lockdowns over that period of time. Where I was where we couldn't leave our houses at all.
For 6 months?
3 months in 2020, and then we had another 3 months in 2021. Wow. Where everything shut down, and I worked in a gym back at home, so I obviously couldn't go to work either because gyms are also the first thing that shuts down when something like that's happening. So I was like, and so during that time, I just needed something for my creative juices. So I think like interacting with Sean and just creating content in dumb little ways and doing little things and pieces and stuff like that, just to keep yourself like not remembered, but just like, you know, like a little earworm that in people's lives, like, oh, like we haven't completely forgotten about Shazza. We haven't completely forgotten about Shazza. Like, oh wait, Shazza, what? She's doing something crazy over here. And just little things like that, because so much of what we do is marketing and selling ourselves and, you know, creating a brand and making it a brand that people want to invest in and brand that people want to follow. And I spent a lot of time, like when I was limited with what I could do to create and do stuff, I did what I could, and interacting with people like Sean Rossap were helped with that. And then we ended up having a match about a year ago, and I hit him really hard with the cane. But, you know, he asked for it, so...
I didn't even know he wrestled ever. I just knew him as the guy from Fightful. So I'm like, Sean Rossap is like the dirt sheet writer. He breaks a lot of reports and stuff in wrestling. And I didn't know he wrestled at all. And then one day I'd seen this stuff, and I saw it was at a Glory Pro show. You had a sign somebody gave you that said something about him.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. I didn't get to go to that one, but I saw it on Instagram. And then you guys were in the ring. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know Sean wrestles.
Well, he was like, before he started writing for Fightful and stuff, he was a professional wrestler.
Okay.
But like, I think he had like maybe like 30 matches. He wasn't a great professional wrestler. Love him, but you know, he wasn't the upper echelon by any means.
Right.
But he very much wanted to learn to be a wrestler, because he was like, if I'm going to report on this, then I need to know what it actually entails. So he wrestled, he went around, he did all the little shindies and did all the like festival shows, and you know, he paid his dues and all that. But then I believe he got hurt, and so then he had to he was like, okay, well, focus on this writing stuff. And then the match with me was the first time that he got in the ring in like 7 years or something.
Wow.
But yeah, he was very anxious about all that. But it was fine. I was like, everything's going to be fine. I don't know why it's nothing to worry about. It's just a little wrestle. We'll be fine.
Do you do a lot of intergender wrestling? 'Cause I know Glory Pro does a lot of it. Are you in a lot of those matches?
I love it. I haven't done as much this past year, which makes me sad. But I love intergender wrestling, because I think not doing intergender wrestling, like the only people that it harms are the women, because like obviously it's a male dominated industry, so there's, you know, maybe 5% females to 95% men. So when you've got like a new guy coming through school, and his opportunity to wrestle and learn from people that know more and like can help him, you know, he has 95% of the talent pool to choose from, but the women only have 5%, which you can still learn obviously, but so much of wrestling is just you learn from being in there with completely different people every week, every night, and learning to adjust and think on your feet and improv and all this stuff. And that's just stuff that you can't learn if you're limited to wrestling the same handful of people over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, which is, I think, why there's so many, why women are so much better getting so much better these days, because intergender wrestling is becoming more normalized, and therefore that women are getting the chance to learn more and get better faster, and then they take over the world, and then they're superstars.
You make a good point. There's really only you see the same 6 to 8 women's wrestlers every time you go anywhere around here anyway. You, Lainey, Allie, Blair, and Tootie.
Maggie.
Oh yeah, Maggie.
And Maggie.
I hadn't seen Maggie before this past Glory Pro show, but I was out of it for about a year.
Oh, we love Maggie.
She was great.
But you have to. The other thing about Maggie is she's a very much a testament to this theory, because Maggie's been wrestling 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
2 years. And she's so good.
She is really good.
And it's because she gets out there and she wrestles anyone and everyone, and she learns from. She's been able to learn from people that are so much higher in skill level because intergender wrestling exists, and that's why she's been able to get so good at 2 years in, because that just wouldn't happen previously.
I got to call a triple threat match at the last show with her, Lainey, and Allie, and it was great.
Well, I'm sure it was a banger.
It's some of the best female talent on the indies, so it was really cool to see that one.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen her, though,
Absolutely.
surprisingly. I know most of the local people, but I didn't know Maggie.
We love Maggie. Maggie's our queen.
How do you feel about, like, hardcore death matches now? Do you do any of those at all?
I've done them, yes.
You've done death matches?
I actually just had an I Quit match with Maggie in October.
Okay.
Where we bled everywhere and craziness was happening. But I've had that was just a regular hardcore match. But I've done actual death matches with glass and tubes and all that stuff. I have scars on me from it, but it is what it is. It's like it's called deathmatch wrestling because it's dangerous and the possibility of death does exist. It always exists, but doesn't it really? But the whole like idea of there's still ways of making it safe and making it a reasonable thing to do and work around it and make sure you're safe and that your opponent's safe and all that stuff and just create art. It's all about storytelling and creating art.
When they're done right, they're hard to watch, but they're some of the ones I haven't seen a ton of deathmatch stuff because I don't like. I like blood to an extent, but I don't when it gets like Dustin bleeding at Double or Nothing a couple years ago. It was awesome. Eddie Kingston with the gas can was great.
Oh yeah.
But like that's about where I draw the line. I saw some of Cardona and Gage and some of Gage and Jericho, but it's just the light tube stuff and the glass and I have a hard time watching it. But when it's done right, it's amazing.
I think it's one of those things that I watched it a little bit or whatever, but until I saw it in person, when you are sitting in a crowd and you can smell the light tubes and you can smell the blood and you can just feel it all, there's something about I was like, oh, I get this. I absolutely understand why people lose their absolute minds over this when they're physically there in it, because it's crazy. It's such a I don't know. It's just such an atmosphere that you experience.
I could see. I mean, just off the reaction with Cardona alone. In GCW, was it 3 or 4 years ago when he had a white shirt on at the beginning and it was bright red by the end. I remember. They were throwing trash at him because in GCW is a lot of hardcore stuff, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much made its name on deathmatch wrestling. Now it makes its name as a variety show essentially, because you've got your deathmatch wrestling, you've got your luchas, you've got your technical, you've got your hard hitting, you've got whatever it is. There's something for everyone there, which I think is something that they do very well. Is that they do produce they get a bad rep about the deathmatch wrestling or whatever, but they do produce a smorgasbord of wrestling, and that there is kind of something for everyone at a GCW show if people are willing to give it a chance and give it a go.
I think they're coming to St. Louis soon. Are you on that card?
They came. Did they just come? They came in November.
Okay. I knew it was either coming up or just happened. Did you wrestle then?
Yeah, no, they came in November. I was supposed to be on it, but then I ended up getting a tour of Japan, so that's why I wasn't at the last one or at the last foray or anything like that, because I was busy wrestling in Japan.
When we met at the last Glory Pro show, you told me about you were going to Japan. That's one thing I definitely wanted to touch on. How was that? Tell me about your experience a little bit there.
It was amazing. Japan was amazing. It was such a nice place. It was such a I don't know if I want to live there, but being able to visit there and really immerse myself in the culture and see. I was very lucky. I had a lot of downtime while I was there between my wrestling, so I was able to go see everything and well, not everything, but a lot of things, and really enjoy it, because I was who knows if I ever get to do this again, so we're gonna embrace it as much as we can.
What promotion were you? Was it a bunch of promotions or was it just one? Or?
No, just with Tokyo Joshi Pro.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you get to? Who'd you wrestle over there?
I had a tag match, and then I wrestled Yuki Arai in the main event for the International Princess Championship, which I lost. But who gets the main event for their favorite company in Japan on their first tour? So
right. That's not a thing that happens
chill.
very often.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. I'll whatever you want me to do, I'll do it.
Was that your first time over there?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully that's something that gets to happen again.
Yeah, but also I'm fine if it's not, right? Like, it's okay, you know?
You got to do it, so you can't complain there, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you hop back on this call? It's going to die off in a second because of Zoom.
Yep.
And then join right back on.
No worries.
Zoom tries to make me pay for it. One day I will, but I'm not paying for more than I need to.
Not yet. Not today, Satan.
It already charges me to post a podcast, so I'm not paying to upgrade to Zoom. They want like $12, and I don't use Zoom enough to pay for it. So
yeah, that's fair.
In the summertime when we're not in studio, I'll pay for it. So when we can do it that way, but because we did one time and we had to restart like 4 or 5 times, I think.
A lot
in the summer.
Oh, geez.
Some of our episodes go ridiculously long. Like we had the new guys in here. They got here at 6 o'clock. They left at 11. We recorded 3 hours of it, and they were here for 2 hours on top of that.
Oh, like we're not going for 3 hours.
No, I gotta go to work. So
I was like, I do not have 3 hours in me.
Yeah, I didn't have 3 hours. I didn't have that in me that day either. But we kept going. It was fun. So we've been hot with long interviews. I don't know where it came from, but all of a sudden, like we're doing really long interviews. But no, I have to go to work at some point today. I have to be there at 5, I think. So yeah, I don't have the 3 hours was not going to happen today.
I was like, I cannot do that.
I'm really bad about getting long form interviews short. I like the long form. I like the long style podcast. I don't like the 20-minute podcast. I had to do an interview for class the other day, and I was just getting started. We were 6-7 minutes in, and I'm seeing signs all over the place to hurry up and finish it. And I was like, I haven't touched on anything yet.
I haven't even gotten to it yet. I don't even know how they are.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten the basics.
That's about all I got through. It was with the guy. He's a national champion shotgun shooter.
Fancy.
Lindenwood has a Hall of Fame caliber shotgun team, which who knew we even had a shotgun team?
Who knew?
That's St. Charles for you.
Hey. Does that work? Works for them? Works for them.
Oh, yeah. And they've won 14 out of 19 titles, I think.
Yeah.
They're really good. Yeah, we had a guy. He was on the show a long time ago when we started. So what was we talked a little about Japan. And growing up in Australia, what was the wrestling scene in Australia like?
There's there's some of the best professional wrestlers in the world are Australian. Like the talent in Australia is so deep and there's just so much of it. But the problem with Australia is, one, it's so isolated from the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard especially when nowadays it's a bit easier because we've got streaming and we've got all that stuff. But like when I first started wrestling, even just to like get DVDs out to the rest of the world is such a hassle,
mm-hmm.
right? So like it was just very like underground, but like it's just not as popular. It's also just like wrestling isn't part of the culture in Australia. Like Raw and SmackDown and stuff airs at like noon on a Wednesday and then noon on a Friday or a Saturday or whatever. Like so like you kind of have to go out of your way to watch wrestling if you want to watch wrestling. Like you have to be a wrestling fan. So I think that makes it hard for Australia to build a bigger fan base and to find more fans. Like there are a lot of people there that like wrestling, but it's just finding them is really, really hard because it's so isolated and so it's not like America where you like can do a show in St. Louis and then I can drive an hour and I'm in a completely different city. in Australia, it's like you've got Sydney, and then you drive 10 hours, and then you've got Melbourne, and then you drive another 8 hours, and you've got Adelaide. Like nothing is. It's the same size as America, but there's nothing.
I didn't know it was the same size. I thought it was. I don't know.
Yeah, like it's physically the same size.
I didn't know
but
that.
like the entire center of it is a desert, and you cannot live there because you will die. Well, you can. You just have to live underground, which people do.
Really?
But you can't run a wrestling show there.
No.
So it's not like it's just there. It's just physically not possible. Like to have the same wrestling boom that have like the an indie boom the way that it does here. Like I could never wrestle professionally. I'd never be an independent professional wrestler for a living if I lived in Australia, which is why I did everything that I could to move to America, because now I am an independent professional wrestler for a living, and I've been doing that for nearly 2 years now. And so and that was all I really wanted to do. I didn't mind doing my day job, but this was what I wanted to do. So I had to find a way of doing it. And now I'm here.
Is there any like major TV companies in Australia? Like here where there's 15 different companies. There's nothing there?
No. We have no TV wrestlers. Well, like we have WWE and AEW on TV. But like we don't have our own TV wrestling. No, absolutely not.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. As many big names as there are from Australia now, I figured there was something.
No, it's just, the reason that Australian wrestlers are so good is because all we have is training.
Okay.
We just train, and then we do like 3 shows a month at most, but then we just train. So we're all really good at our fundamentals.
Yes, I've noticed that. Like Rhea is the same way. Did you ever wrestle Rhea at all in Australia?
Yes. Yeah, I've known Rhea since the day she started. I wrestled her in her tryout.
Really?
I was her WWE tryout. Yeah. It was actually yesterday, 8 years ago. It was off on my memories.
So did you guys try out together, or were you?
Yeah. Like there was a big Australian tryout. And,
okay.
Like there was only 4 girls in it. So there was me, Rhea, Indy Hartwell, and this girl Kellyanne. Kellyanne doesn't wrestle anymore. Indy didn't get signed at the time. She ended up getting signed 2 years later. And then me, and then Rhea got signed immediately. They were going to sign Rhea. They tried to sign Rhea when she was like 17. They didn't realize she was 17. They were like, "Can we give you a job?" And they're like, "Oh wait, actually, she's a child." Because she was just you knew from the day she walked in.
Yeah.
You went, "Oh, superstar! Look at her." She's just always been that way.
And this was like long hair blonde Rhea too, right? Not super gothic.
But she was just, you just knew.
Yeah.
Like from day dot.
Indy Hartwell's another one. She didn't use, she could have been such a star because she was really good in NXT.
She's the best. I love Indy. I cannot wait for the world to see how hilarious and creative she is. Now that she's going to be able to do stuff on her own little like platform version of stuff once her no competes up, I think it's going to be very exciting.
She's going to absolutely crush it on the Indies. Dakota Kai's Australian too, right?
She's New Zealander.
Okay.
But she lived in Australia for like 2 years, a year or two. She lived in Australia when she got signed, so we'll count it. But she's from New Zealand.
Geography is not my thing at all. I thought New Zealand was part of Australia. Geography is not my thing.
They're separate countries.
They're separate. I didn't know that.
Oh, no.
It's like saying that Canada is part of America.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I genuinely didn't know that. It wasn't me trying to be funny.
No.
You know this. I don't know geography at all.
You should have known that.
I should have known that, but
Yeah. Like, you can not know geography, but I feel like you probably should have known that New Zealand was its own country.
Yeah, I probably should have known that. I don't really have an excuse on that one, but it made you laugh, so, you know. That was not me genuinely not me trying to be funny. That was not a bit. I'm just...
Okay.
I don't know geography at all.
I'm going to show you a map after this.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
We had another episode with two girls from Argentina that go to school here. Somehow I knew where Argentina was on a map, but I didn't know New Zealand and Australia. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Doesn't offend me. Probably offends the New Zealanders.
So
I'm Australian, so I don't care.
Is it really? So it's really that much different? It's like Canada and United States?
Yes.
Oh.
Do I need to pull up a map now?
Way more. It's probably even like a far bigger difference.
Really? I didn't know that.
Like New Zealand has its own culture and like history and like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I definitely should have known that.
Like the massacre and stuff. Like that's all like.
Oh wow.
New Zealand culture.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just saw a map. That's bad. Really bad on my part. I'm sorry.
Like it's not connected to us.
Yeah.
It's like a group of islands.
Okay. I couldn't tell you the last time I looked at a map, so I haven't taken a geography class since like 8th grade, at least. So
this is concerning.
Yeah.
You're concerning me about the education system in America.
Yeah, that's why I'm a communications major.
I was already concerned, and this has concerned me even further.
Don't use me as the example. I'm not the smartest person. I'm a much better talker than I am. I can talk all day long. That's what I'm going to school for. Is this kind of stuff. Before I dig myself too deep of a hole, we're going to switch segments a little bit and talk about a little about food. Are you a big food person? You a big foodie?
I mean, I enjoy eating. Yes, I'm a big eater of food. I wish I went out more. I don't have time to go out and like eat. Like my weekends are on the road,
right.
So I'm not ever like, I live on gas station food for the most part. But I am a big fan of eating.
Since you've been in St. Louis, what's your favorite local place you've had?
Ooh, favorite local place. That's a tough one. There's this ramen place that just opened up near me that I've been really into. But
what is it?
When I first moved here, I was like down the road from Ted Drew's.
Okay.
So for the first like 3 months, I would just eat Ted Drew's. Because I would have to walk past Ted Drew's to get to the gym because I didn't have a car. Because moving to a country, it's a whole fucking fudging process. It's a whole fudging process. And
you can cuss here, don't worry. There's no rules.
No, I'm an innocent angel. But I would have to walk past Ted Drew's to get to the gym. So sometimes on the way back, maybe we need a little sugar hit on post-workout,
I can't blame you on that one.
Frozen custard.
I think I've only had Ted Drew's once.
How?
I live 45 minutes away from Ted Drew's.
So do I, but I've had it more than that.
Everyone, yeah.
I mean,
it was like the first thing everyone was like, "You've had Ted Drew's, you've had Ted Drew's, you've had Ted Drew's, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, well, leave me alone. I've had Ted Drew's. He's everywhere. He's in the airports all the time with these little vending machine Ted Drew's."
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that is cool. You can get ice cream at the airport in a vending machine.
You can get everything in the airport. Is it St. Louis? I think St. Louis has like in one of the terminals has like a pizza in a vending machine.
A pizza vending machine? I don't know if I trust that.
Like the vending machine makes the pizza and then cooks it and then it comes out.
I don't know if I would
trust
that.
I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's there.
That sounds dangerous.
I gotta go to the airport and check that out now.
I don't know what.
Yeah, I think it's the Southwest terminal has that.
That's the one I was in last time too. The Southwest terminal doesn't have much. It's kind of.
No, it does not. But it has Ted Drew's in a vending machine.
Yes, it does.
And it has pizza in a vending machine.
And you can check your bags for free.
I love Southwest, and it also now has a Shake Shack. Shake Shack opened like a month ago. I know. I all I do is travel. What am I saying? I'm giving a ramble about the food of St. Louis Airport.
Hey, it's something we've never talked about airport.
No,
before.
Ignore me.
That's a first, and it's good to learn about. I fly about once a year, and that's
no. I am back and forth. I'm not driving. I'm flying. I'm not flying. I'm driving. Not driving. I'm sleeping.
Sounds like fun. That sounds like the dream there, right? Traveling and sleeping.
Something like that.
So we got a little game for you. We play with everybody. Everybody's ever been on the show. We play this game when it comes to St. Louis foods. So I'm going to have you blindly rank some St. Louis foods. So I'm going to tell you a food, and you put it on a list 1 through 5. Wherever it's at, that's where it stays. You can't change it afterwards.
Okay.
All right. We talked about it. We got to start with it. Ted Drew's.
I don't know what's coming next.
A couple of them you can figure out.
I'm going to put it at number 2. I'm going to put it at number 2.
Number 2. Okay. I like that. How about pork steak? Have you had pork steak?
No, I have not.
It's awesome.
What is this?
How do you explain pork steak? Deliciousness?
It's like a pork chop.
But way better.
But smothered in barbecue sauce.
Ooh. I'm going to put that at 5 because sometimes I'm weird about pork.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't love pork chops.
I don't either.
But maybe pork steak I like. Who knows?
I don't like pork chops really at all. But I love a good pork steak because it's cooked differently, and it's like it sits in barbecue sauce for a while, and then when you eat a good rib and you take a bite and the bone falls out.
Yeah, because I like pulled pork, don't I? Now I'm confused. Oh well, I've already said it's 5, so it's 5.
You know how when you take a bite out of a good rib and the bone falls out of it? Yeah. That's
pork ribs. Duh, it's like pork ribs.
That's how a good pork steak is.
That actually does sound amazing.
They're awesome.
Now I want food. I'm hungry now.
I don't know where you can get them. My grandma makes them and they're really good. So.
You could probably go to like any barbecue
place. But certain places.
Yeah, like one of those St. Louis barbecue places.
All right. The next one, my personal favorite, and this is a big thing on our show. If you were here, we'd give you some gooey butter.
Oh, 1.
That's what I like to hear.
Number 1. I'd forgotten about gooey butter. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Duh.
So
that's up there.
Now,
I'm a sweets person, so I'm glad I left number 1 open there for that, if that was a good.
Now, here's the important question. Cookies or cake?
I think I prefer the cookie.
Me too.
But like, I'll take it all. I'm not particular. I'm not. Whatever's going.
There was a thing every time we had somebody in studio. It's usually just Lindenwood people, but if they had never had gooey butter, we'd have them try it on the show. We make TikToks no, they didn't do good, but for our standards, they did good. People trying gooey butter cookies for the first time.
Hell yeah!
I was hoping you'd had them. I wasn't sure if you had or not.
Oh yeah, I've had them. Now I want some.
I always want gooey butter. Apparently, there's a place, I don't remember what it was called or who told us about it, but there's a place with like 12 different flavors of gooey butter.
It's called Gooey Louie.
Gooey Louie.
Gooey Louie? Sorry, I had to take a photo of my dog being asleep on she's just having a moment. She's just said, I live here now.
Well, good for her taking over right away, right?
Truly.
All right,
she said, this is my house now.
That's what my dog did too. We got her. It was her house. She was 3 months old when we got her. It was her house immediately.
Respect it.
And my other dog.
I respect a strong, independent woman. Just like Biscuit.
My other dog, he just kind of accepted it. He's like, "Yep, she's in charge now."
That's what. Yeah, our cat's like, okay, I guess she's big, so I'll just let her do it.
Do they get along?
They're getting there. They're figuring each other out.
Okay.
The dog wants to play, and the cat's like, "You're very big compared to me, so please do not play with me." So, figuring it out.
That sounds about right with dogs and cats getting used to each other.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we have 3 and 4 left on your list. How about St. Louis style?
Yes.
St. Louis style pizza. Emos, Cecil Whitakers, that kind of stuff.
I'm going to put it at 4 because I can guess what the last one coming is. And so I'm going to put it at 4.
And what is it?
Because I know the other ones that I want to put the other one ahead of it.
What do you think the other one is? Toasted
wraps.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's figured that out. Everybody figures that game out pretty quick.
We're geniuses. Isn't it cool that St. Louis has so many like unique foods to itself? That's pretty cool. I like that.
They do, and the barbecue here too is good. We didn't even mention that, but the barbecue here is good too.
Yes, it is.
Is barbecue a big thing in Australia at all?
Like we have barbecues, but like American barbecue is different to what we do in Australia.
Okay.
Like like we have barbecue culture is like we definitely have barbecues, but we don't have like it's just a very different thing. It's like but it's the same sort of thing but different. Like you would never go to a barbecue restaurant in Australia.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very, very popular thing here.
Yes.
What is your favorite kind of barbecue food?
Ribs.
Okay.
Probably. Probably some ribs. But they're so messy.
They are messy.
That's one problem. They're so messy. But I love a good rib.
It's like
that's probably my vibe.
It's like eating wings. It just makes a mess no matter what.
Exactly. Like it's nice, but you're getting messy.
I made the mistake one time of eating ribs on a first date. I did not have a second date.
That's like the number one rule.
Yeah, clearly I'm not very.
ribs.
This was a couple years ago.
That's something I would do. I'd be like, fuck yeah, free ribs.
Right?
Let's go.
Well, I mean,
in my head they're free because I'm the girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I had to pay for them in this case, but I had to pay for the wings and whatever she got. It was a couple of years ago, so I don't remember what it was. But she told me to get the wings. I don't think the wings had that. Or not the wings, the ribs. But I like food.
Hey,
ribs are good.
It is what it is.
And we were at Texas.
At least now you can make it up in your head that that's why there was no second date and not anything to do with you. It was definitely the ribs.
Exactly. I'm gonna blame it all on the
I liked it
because I'm a very messy eater.
That's how I would do it. Gaslight yourself. That's what we do.
I like that idea. I never thought about that, but I like that. It definitely was not my fault. Whatever I did was
no. Just she couldn't handle ribs. She couldn't handle a man eating ribs. That's her loss.
Exactly. That's what I told myself. It was her loss. Get back into wrestling a little bit. What kind of got you into wrestling? What was the first? Was there a match? Was there a time?
I was 15 when I started watching wrestling, so I didn't grow up on wrestling. But basically, it was on TV.
That's okay.
The puppy is making me sleepy. I was 15 and I saw, I always wanted to be in performing arts. Like I was always a singer and a dancer and a actress and I was always doing that sort of stuff. But I wasn't really athletic. Like I wasn't any of that sort of stuff. But then it was on TV when I was 15 and I saw Trish Stratus and I was just like, she's the coolest. She's so hot and she's just kicking ass and she's just I was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be her. And then it just consumed my entire life and now we're here 20 years later. So 21 years later.
When did you start?
20. It was 2004. 20 years later.
Did you start wrestling around that time, or was it a little while after?
I started wrestling in 2007.
Okay.
So I've been wrestling for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
I'm old and tired.
I thought I'm
a sleepy girl.
I looked you up a little bit, and I didn't realize how long you've been wrestling. I thought you were... I'm terrible at guessing ages. I thought you were 26, 27.
I am. Yep. It's me.
Wrestling since you were 5?
26, 27. 26, 27. That's it right here. Love it.
But you
tell everyone.
I looked at your cage match, and there's a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah, I'd be doing wrestling for a lot. I do a lot of wrestling. I've been doing this for a while. I'm a pretty big deal. I'm a little bit famous. I do okay.
I think you are our most followed guest in terms of Instagram followers.
Probably.
I think you're either close to first or I think you're first. It's close though. We got another guy.
I would hope so.
With around the same.
I would hope so. I'm a big deal.
Do you remember your first official match?
Yes. I I was wrestling my friend. It was some shindy. It's on YouTube.
Really?
It's on YouTube. My first match is on YouTube. It's so long ago that it's in 2 parts because it was when you couldn't upload like long videos on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Because that's how old I am. And how long I've been doing this.
According to Cage Match, and I've found out Cage Match is wrong a lot of times. Your first match was in 2008? Or was that the first recorded?
Yeah, 2008, September or August 2008. I think it's September 2008.
Do you know who it was with?
Yes, it was with Alice in Wonderland, who now wrestles as Harley Wonderland.
Okay, so Cage Match was right then. Wow, it was way off with the new guys.
Yeah, but I make sure my shit was online. I was on my shit from day one. I made sure my Cage Match is there is a lot of stuff missing, but like the general outline of my life is there. But there's probably an extra maybe 100 or 200 matches that aren't on there.
Wow.
But that's whatever.
Wow. How many matches do you think you wrestle a year on average?
This year I am going to hit 95. Wow. I was going for 100, but I had to cancel some shows to go to Japan. So, but I never want to wrestle that much ever again. I'm tired.
Just sounds painful.
But it just kind of got to a point where I was like, I think I can get to 100. Let's just keep going. But I have not had a weekend off all year. I think my last weekend off was January 3rd or 4th or something.
Oh, wow.
So and then my next weekend off will be January 3rd and 4th next year. So, I never want to do that again.
It sounds like you're wrestling 2 or 3 matches a week, too. That's crazy.
I need to give myself some boundaries when it comes to bookings and wrestling and take more time for myself. Maybe book some vacations, maybe go on holidays, maybe relax. If I figure out how to do that one day, I should, hopefully.
There's not much time to recover if you're wrestling that much either, is there?
There is no. I mean, yeah, I'm just constantly tired. I mean, I'm very I can do it because I don't have to go to an office job on Monday morning, right? This is my job. Shazza is my job, so everything that comes with Shazza is my job. So I have work to do, but I don't have to get up at 7 a.m. and get to the office and be personable and then blah, 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 while driving 10 hours this way and that way and da-da-da-da-da. So that helps, but I don't have to do that. I do it very sleepy.
It sounds like just a lot. It sounds like a tough schedule, traveling all the time. I don't travel, and I feel like I'm always worn out, too. So, and I'm not getting beat up in a ring and beating people up.
And then sometimes it's sometimes you're traveling 5-6 days a week, and then sometimes you're traveling once. So it's just it's so, there's no routine. You just have to embrace the chaos.
Sounds like fun, though. It sounds like the dream job, wrestling.
It is. I'm very happy and I'm very blessed. I don't want to do it for the rest of my life. At some point I would like to not throw my body into the ground to make a living. That would be nice. But I'm very blessed and very lucky that I've made it this far and that I've accomplished everything that I have anything that I've ever said I want to do this, I've done it. So
that's really cool.
Pretty chill. But, the visa, getting this visa for America, I'm literally the second independent wrestler in history that has successfully gotten their own visa for the United States for professional wrestling without a major company, without ever working for a major company, without a company sponsoring anything like that. So I'm pretty determined when I decide I want to do something, I'm going to do it. Now I just need to not get kicked out of the country. So because We love immigration, but we're going to figure it out.
That's really cool that you did all that. You say you're only the second indie wrestler ever to do that?
Yeah.
That's
the
amazing.
only other person I know that's done it is Lufisto. Lots of people have tried, but you get rejected. Like, the government does not like people getting into this country. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but it's they really hate it. And they make it as hard as possible and as expensive as possible and as draining as possible. So we just keep trying. I'm trying to get through the process of getting a green card. So if I get my green card through this, then I'll be the only person that's ever taken the path that I've taken. And then I'll brag about it and be really proud of myself, and then I'll get over it.
You should be really proud of yourself. That's really cool. That is really cool. If you're the first person ever to do it that way, that's really cool.
Yeah. I was like, didn't get married, so guess I got to do it on my own merit.
And you said you did it without a big TV company or anything backing?
No company, no sponsorship, all me.
Have you done anything with any major companies?
I've wrestled for WWE, I've wrestled for TNA, I've wrestled for AEW, I've wrestled for Ring of Honor, I've wrestled for MLW. I've done it all. Like I said, I've done it all. I'm very satisfied and chill. I just don't want to spend the rest of my life throwing my body into the ground.
I don't blame you on that one. TNA was somewhat recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did TNA in May.
Was that with Masha?
I did 2 matches. I did a tag match. That was me and Jada Stone versus Masha and Alicia Edwards.
Okay.
And then, and then I wrestled Giselle Shaw as well in her first match back. And then she left again. But, here's what it is.
That's really cool. I remember seeing you post about it, and that was pretty cool. It seems like somebody that I've seen on the indies on TV was always really cool to see. Yeah.
And I mean, I made these random ass goals in March this year. I was just like, oh, I guess these are some things I want to do. And then I just accomplished them all within 9 months. And now I'm like, oh, I guess I need to make new goals.
That's insane. You did that in 9 months.
Just go to bed.
Everything you wanted to accomplish in 9 months is amazing.
I did. Yeah, I was like, oh, I want to wrestle for TNA. I want to wrestle for TJPW in Japan. And I want to be part of a wrestling wedding where there's cake. And now I've done that all. So,
a wrestling wedding with cake?
That's
very specific.
Yeah, I went in the cake last week. It happens.
Tell me about that a little bit.
So it was at Second Wrestling last week, and it was Heather Monroe and David Ali's wrestling wedding, and I was a bridesmaid, and then everyone interrupted, and it was chaos. And during the interruptions, while Alicia Fox was rambling about something over here, and then the infantry came out, and the infantry was Carly Bravo was trying to get the cake, and then someone else was trying to get the cake. And then it was supposed to be struggle, struggle, struggle. Oh, accidentally, it's about to go in the bride. Oh, no, it ends up in Shazza's face. Because I was the only heel girl involved in the segment. So it's funnier if I take the cake than it's just sad if the bride takes the cake. That's just, plus I wanted to take the cake. But then the cake fell off the plate straight away. And so then Carly Bravo just panicked, I guess. And instead of he just picked it up and he just pie-faced me. And I was like, this doesn't look like you were trying to get someone else or anything. It just looks like you just threw a cake in my face. But this is what it is.
I feel like that'd be fun to get cake thrown in your face.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice cake. It tasted good.
That's good. At least it wasn't like fake cake or something. Like they use in Hollywood sometimes.
No, it was, I think it's like a red velvet cake. But then they had a second cake backstage as well so that we could actually eat cake. But I could eat the cake on my face.
At least they made it right. I got one final question for you. We'll start to wind down a little bit. Out of all the matches you've had in your career, I think I saw in Cage Match, it was 600 or 700. Do you have a absolute favorite match?
Yes. My favorite match God, actually, do I? I don't know. There's so many matches that mean so many things for so many reasons. Oh no. I was like, there was a match I had in 2017, which was against my trainer, Madison Eagles, and it was on the House Hardcore Tour, where Tommy Dreamer had brought, like, it was like the Young Bucks' first time in Australia and stuff like this. So it was this huge tour where, like, there was like 1,200 people at the show, and none of them knew Australian wrestling at the time, and, like, definitely didn't expect much from two girls going out there and wrestling. But then we went out there and we slayed, and then the crowd was like, yes, yes, yes. And then I got I made a bunch of connections from that match and, like, from all that. So that match has always felt the most important in that sort of thing. But I've had so many matches that I love and all that stuff. But that match from 2017 has always sat with me. And it was just like an 8-minute whatever match, but it just, so many things forked off from it that it was important to me.
That's a huge crowd too for an indie show. 1,200 people. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, yes.
Because indie fans
that was when I realized I will never make Young Buck money, because those guys made $10K in merch in one night. Wow. And I said, you're rich. I am not.
They made that much? And wow.
They were, and in when they were independent, they're probably making a lot more now.
Wow. I'm a huge fan of the Young Bucks, so they were kind of what got. I was late getting into pro wrestling. I got into it. SummerSlam of 2020 was when I started watching. When I was 18, 19. So the Young Bucks were like the top thing. So that was really cool too.
Yeah.
That's kind of what got me into BTE and the Bucks and all that stuff.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, Shazza, thank you for coming on today. We had a lot of fun with you. It was really cool. Thank you for taking your time. Is there anything you want to plug before we head out?
Follow me on socials at Shazza_Mckenzie on X and on Instagram. And then if you go to ShazzMckenzie.com, it has my links to all my things and stuff and ways to support me and all that stuff.
All right. We'll put it all in the description too.
Perfect.
Can you hang on and call for like another minute or two after we wrap it up?
No.
Well, thank you, Shazza. We had a lot of fun. It was great. Emily, glad you're back. Thanks for producing. I'm glad I don't have to run the board. I'm not good at that. We'll be back next week. It might be a little different. I don't know how we're going to do things over break. It's our last in-studio one of the semester. So we'll figure something out. We may be in person. We may be on Zoom. We'll find it out. But until then, we'll see you next time.